Hi there, YouTube, and all my subscriber friends. And yes, I mean all of you, including my YouTube viewers who I may have never confronted before. This is Garrett with Houseless on Wheels, and as I mentioned earlier, I was going to do a questions and answers, and that is exactly what I'm doing right this moment. And I didn't have too many questions, but there was an interest, so I might want to consider doing this again in the near future. But I do have 3 questions, and I kind of wrote them down on this piece of paper because I'm a professional like that. So let's just go ahead and get to it. The first question I received is from WolfArt, and he says, Chewbacca, why is the sky blue? Ha ha ha, ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. I got asked the same thing on my channel. Well, Art, yes, I know you did get asked that same thing on your channel because I watched that video. I think that might actually be the reason why I had mentioned, even if your question is, why is the sky blue? So, he actually did a fairly reasonable job answering that question. I don't know if I can answer it any better than he can. Basically, the sky is made up of countless molecules that are just floating around in the atmosphere. And, you know, that partially makes up our oxygen and whatnot. And the light from the sun reflects off of these molecules. Now, the reason why it's blue is because of the wavelength. See, each color has its own wavelength. White would be the shortest distance possible for a wavelength to occur, which is why the light that comes directly from the sun appears to us in that sort of way. But that same light also reflects off of the molecules in the air, and that's why we get this blue color, especially when the sun has reached its peak, which is why when the sun has reached its peak, you know, the sky seems to be at its bluest on a nice clear sunny day. And the reason for the reddish hues, the crimson colors and whatnot that happen during the dusk and dawn is because of the change of the direction in which the light hits the molecules. Some like to consider it also having to do with pollution, and I suppose that could actually be the case, but I wouldn't put too much stock into that. I'm also not a physicist by any standard, so what I could say could be completely incorrect. I'm just going off of my own studies, and I've been curious in the past on why the sky was blue, and I figured out it's basically the wavelength of the light which hits the molecules. So aside from white, blue is the shortest wavelength out of all the colors, which is why the sky shows blue. So that's that. And speaking of Chewbacca, I haven't seen Van Baca around anywhere. I've been looking around for him from time to time, but I've only had that one encounter with him when I was installing the rear camera. So, I know he's around. I know he is. I just don't know where, and I haven't seen him. And he's due to come around at some point. I'm sure of it. Anyway, the next question comes from Going to the Lake Huff. And he asks, once inside is done, any plans or modifications for the exterior of your van? And yes, absolutely. There's a lot that I would like to get done to the exterior of the van. First and foremost, I want to get rid of all the decals that are on this van. Now, the decals come from the original usage of this van. Before I purchased this vehicle, it was an electrical service van for Kitsap County, which is the southern western area of Washington, one of them anyway. So it was for the Kitsap School District. But aside from the decals, I would also like to get a new paint job. So that requires removing all the rust. And there's surprisingly not a lot of rust on here. I know that Dodges are known for having rust issues, but this one really doesn't have that much. It's really just surface rust, and I know it is because if I take some acetone, which is a cleaning agent, I use it at work all the time, and if I just rub a rag with some acetone on it, this stuff comes right off. So I know it's just surface rust. And then I can just do a new paint job. And I'm actually considering doing it myself, and I would just do a basic white color. And the reason why is because I want the van to look fairly respectable. And so that way it doesn't draw more attention than it being a high top and 18 feet long already draws. Also, what would be involved in giving this thing a new paint job is taking some Bondo and shaping out some of the dents that are and little dings that are on the van. It's nothing major, just a few little things here and there. So that's one modification that I'd like to get done to this thing. I would also like to install a tow package on the rear bumper side. It's not an absolute necessity. I don't plan on hauling anything, but I want it more so to be able to help somebody else that's on the side of the road and maybe got stuck somewhere, because I've dealt with that in the past when I've owned a larger vehicle, and I'd like to be able to do that when I do travel, which won't be too often, but from time to time. So I like being able to do little things like that. Another thing that would also be nice but not an absolute necessity is putting a steel front bumper grill thingamabobber that you see on a lot of vehicles. It's mostly for added protection in case the inevitable happens, whatever that might be. So, aside from that, I'm not sure if there's anything else that I'd really want to do to the exterior. I want this to mostly be stealthy as much as possible. Like, I'm not doing the solar panels on top of the roof like most people do, and I understand why they do it, but I drive this a lot, so I don't really see that as a necessity for me. Although I do plan on having a solar panel, but that will be talked about in a later video. And my last question comes from Tinabeane, and she says, like the new look, winky face. Thank you, much appreciated. And she's referring to the lack of beard, which may or may not return. I don't know yet. I've not watched all your videos yet. Shame on you. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, seriously, don't be upset. It was a joke. I was kidding. Seriously. Seriously. No, I understand. And if I hadn't made all my videos, I probably would not have watched them all either, so no worries. We're good. We're good, Tina. But in general, what do you do for work? Well, I've kind of talked about this in earlier videos, and I'm sure that's why you alluded to mentioning that you have not watched all my videos yet. And in fact, I also have a couple of videos of me at work. I am a finishing carpenter, which means that I make cabinets and kitchens and living rooms and dining rooms and all of these places that customers want us to do work on. I'll make all those types of cabinetry look pretty, whether it be a solid paint color or if it's a nice stain or a glaze job, some sort of antiquing, all sorts of things, even if it's just repair work. I've also been assigned simple table repair work or furniture repair, a bunch of dings and scratches and whatnot that needed to be taken care of to the best of our ability within a certain time frame because there's a budget in mind. And so yeah, that's what I do. I'm a finishing carpenter. And to give you more of an idea, since you may not have watched those videos yet, here is just one example of an antiquing glaze job that I do. It's with this amazing glaze. And that's actually the name of the product. It's a powder glaze that sprays on liquid but dries as a powder. And so this video I took last year, a little over a year ago. And it's a very dirty process, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing any sort of glazing. That's one of my specialties, and that's one of the things that my job appreciates that I can do. Yeah. So anyway, here's that video and some additional pictures. I've been wanting to post this video for a little while, and I've wanted to upload this video to YouTube for some time, so this seems like a convenient time to do so. So enjoy this video. want to mention one other thing. I'd like to try this again next week, continuing this questions and answers thing. So if you have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if this video sparks another interest as far as videos are concerned, I think it would be a fantastic opportunity to place another video that does not require quite as much editing and filming and whatnot that my build videos do, which, by the way, take a lot of effort and time. So yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them below, and maybe we can address them next weekend. Alright, in the meantime, thank you for watching, take care, love others as you love yourself, and I'll see you next time.